Have you ever wondered if that woman in your life is secretly interested in you? Maybe it's a coworker who always seems friendly but professional, or that friend who's been acting a little different lately. Here's the thing, sometimes the strongest attractions are the ones people try hardest to hide. And today we're going to decode exactly what that looks like. Before we dive in, let me tell you why women might hide their interest in the first place. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. There are real reasons. Maybe she's unsure if you feel the same way and doesn't want to risk rejection or embarrassment. Maybe you work together and she's worried about making things awkward. Maybe she's been hurt before and is protecting herself. Or maybe she's waiting to see if you'll make the first move. Understanding the why behind these hidden signals helps you recognize them when they appear. So let's get into it. Here are 7 signs that a woman likes you, but is trying not to show it. The first sign is what I call the accidental attention pattern. She somehow always knows what's going on in your life, even though she acts like she's not paying special attention to you. She'll casually mention that presentation you nailed at work, even though you didn't tell her about it directly. She remembers that obscure band you mentioned liking 3 weeks ago. She notices when you get a haircut or wear something new, though she might downplay it with something like, "Oh, did you do something different?" Here's what's happening. When we're attracted to someone, our brain automatically prioritizes information about them. She's not consciously memorizing everything about you. Her brain is just naturally filing away these details because you matter to her. But since she's trying not to show it, she has to act casual about this knowledge she's accumulated. The giveaway is that she knows way more about you than she should for someone who's supposedly not that interested. I had a friend who went through this exact situation with a coworker. She would mention things from his social media that he'd posted days ago, remember conversations from weeks back, and somehow always knew when he was having a rough day. But she'd always frame it casually, like it was no big deal. Turns out she'd been interested in him for months, but was trying to keep it professional. The second sign is the hot and cold behavior that can drive you absolutely crazy if you don't understand what's happening. One day she's warm, engaging, maybe even a little flirty. The next day she's distant, professional, almost cold. You're left wondering if you did something wrong or if you just imagined the connection. Here's what's actually going on in her head. When she lets her guard down, her natural attraction to you comes through. She's engaged. She's laughing at your jokes. She's finding reasons to continue the conversation. Then later, she realizes she might have shown too much interest and pulls back to compensate. She's basically in a constant internal battle between what she feels and what she thinks she should show. This isn't manipulation. It's self-protection. She's trying to manage her own feelings while also managing how she appears to you. The key tell is the inconsistency itself. If she truly wasn't interested, her behavior would be consistently neutral. The fluctuation reveals the internal struggle. The third sign is what I call strategic positioning. She somehow ends up near you a lot, but it always seems coincidental. At parties, she gradually migrates to wherever you are. At work, she takes the long way to the kitchen that passes by your desk. At the gym, she somehow always needs to use the equipment near you. But if you called her out on it, she'd have a perfectly logical explanation for why she's there. Our bodies often betray what our minds try to hide. When we're attracted to someone, we naturally want to be in their orbit. She might not even be fully conscious she's doing this. Her subconscious is drawing her toward you while her conscious mind is trying to play it cool. The key is to notice the pattern. Once is coincidence, twice is interesting, but 3 or more times, that's intention, whether she admits it or not. The fourth sign is the social media tell. She's one of the first to view your stories but rarely responds to them. She likes your posts, but not immediately, usually hours or even a day later, like she's trying not to seem too eager. Maybe she'll occasionally respond to a story with something casual, but it's always something that could lead to a conversation if you wanted it to. In our digital age, social media behavior is incredibly revealing. She wants to know what you're up to. She's interested in your life, but she's careful not to appear too keen. The delayed likes are particularly telling. It means she saw your post right away but deliberately waited to engage with it. She's managing her digital footprint with you the same way she manages her in-person interactions. I know someone who discovered her friend was interested when she noticed this exact pattern. The friend would watch every story within minutes but only occasionally respond, always with something that opened the door for more conversation. When they finally talked about their feelings, The friend admitted she'd been checking his social media way more than she wanted to admit. The fifth sign is body language that contradicts her words. She might be saying something casual or even talking about other guys, but her body is telling a completely different story. She faces you directly when you talk. Her pupils dilate when she looks at you. She mirrors your movements unconsciously. She plays with her hair or jewelry when you're around. She finds subtle ways to create physical contact. A touch on the arm when she laughs, a playful push when you tease her. Body language is incredibly hard to control consciously, which is why it's such a reliable indicator. She might be able to control her words, but her body reveals the truth. The contradiction is the key here. If her words are saying, "We are just friends," but her body is saying, "I'm attracted to you." Trust the body language. It doesn't lie. Pay special attention to how she acts when other women show interest in you. Does she suddenly become more animated? Does she find ways to insert herself into the conversation? Does she seem a little territorial even though she has no official claim? These involuntary responses reveal feelings she might not even fully acknowledge to herself. The sixth sign is the overthinking tell. Her messages to you are either super casual to the point of seeming forced, or they're perfectly crafted like she wrote and rewrote them 3 times. She takes a while to respond, not because she's not interested, but because she's trying to strike the perfect balance between showing interest and not showing too much interest. You might notice she brings up topics that seem designed to extend conversation. She asks questions that show she's been thinking about you. But then she might suddenly end a great conversation with something abrupt, like she caught herself being too engaged. She's constantly editing herself, trying to appear naturally casual when nothing about her feelings is casual at all. Here's a dead giveaway. If she accidentally sends something that seems too forward or revealing, she'll immediately try to walk it back or explain it away. That panic response shows she's managing an image with you, which she wouldn't bother doing if she wasn't interested. The seventh and perhaps most telling sign is how she acts when you mention other women. She tries to seem totally cool about it, but there are micro expressions of disappointment, jealousy, or discomfort. She might ask seemingly casual questions that are actually fishing for information. "Oh, is that someone you're seeing? How do you know her? That's nice, are you guys close?" She might also do this thing where she subtly compares herself to other women you mention. If you say someone is funny, she'll find ways to show her humor. If you mention someone's accomplishments, she'll casually bring up her own. She's competing without wanting to appear like she's competing. Watch for the moment right after you mention another woman. There's usually a split-second reaction before she composes herself. That genuine reaction, whether it's a flash of disappointment or a tightening of her expression, tells you everything you need to know. Now, here's the important part. If you've noticed several of these signs, what should you do about it? First, understand that she's being vulnerable even in her hiding. These hidden signals still represent real feelings and real risk on her part. If you're interested in her too, consider making it safer for her to show her feelings. Be a little more obvious about your own interest. Create opportunities for one-on-one time where she might feel more comfortable opening up. You could also gently acknowledge what you're noticing without putting her on the spot. Something like, "I really enjoy spending time with you," or I've been thinking about you a lot lately," gives her permission to be more open about her own feelings without requiring her to confess anything. If you're not interested, that's okay too, but be gentle. She's already in a vulnerable position, even if she's trying to hide it. Don't call out these signs directly or make her feel embarrassed about feelings she's trying to manage. Just maintain appropriate boundaries and let her manage her feelings in her own way. Remember, recognizing these signs isn't about having power over someone or playing games. It's about understanding human behavior and recognizing when someone might be hoping for something more. These hidden signals are actually quite brave when you think about it. She's trying to protect herself while still staying open to possibility. Sometimes the strongest connections start with these hidden feelings. Two people dancing around their attraction, both scared to make the first move, both showing signs the other person might be missing. If you recognize these signs and feel the same way, consider being the brave one. Consider being the one who says, "I've been noticing something between us, and I'd like to explore it if you're interested." The worst thing that can happen is she says she's not interested, and then you both can move forward with clarity. But more often than you'd think, addressing these hidden signals leads to her admitting she's been feeling the same way all along. She's been hoping you'd notice, hoping you'd make a move, hoping her hidden signals weren't so hidden after all. One final thought. We live in a world where vulnerability is scary, where rejection feels catastrophic, where we'd rather hide our feelings than risk getting hurt. But every great connection requires someone to be brave first. If you're seeing these signs, if you're interested too, maybe it's your turn to be brave. Maybe it's time to turn these hidden signals into an honest conversation. What signs have you noticed in your own life? Have you ever discovered someone was interested in you only after it was too late? Or have you been the one trying to hide your feelings while secretly hoping they'd notice? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Sometimes sharing these stories helps others recognize what's right in front of them. If this opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, hit subscribe. We're all about understanding the unspoken dynamics that shape our relationships. Until next time, remember, sometimes what someone is trying not to show you is exactly what you need to see.